Lore Boys, back at it again, prepared to die and bring doom upon all the world in the form of a colorless fog. I look like Peter O'Donoghue, however the real one is somewhere in the basement. And I am joined with...
Ethan Palmer, and I have the real Ethan Palmer in the basement as well.
Perfect. That's James Miller, everybody. You'd be surprised to hear his voice on this show, I guess.
Yeah, Ethan can't be with us today. He's got some sort of health issue, or maybe some sort of Demon Souls fog messing with him, but we're not sure yet.
It's unclear. Yeah, he's got some rumblies in his tumblies, so we wish him well and hope he's feeling better soon. But I don't know. The show must go on, and his understudy died long ago. It's too bad he couldn't be here with us to celebrate, because our episode today will celebrate my nearly 8-year-long playthrough, as well as the release of the remake on November 12th, 2020, the day after this comes out, on the year of our Lord, on the year of our Lord, because we're doing Demon Souls, baby. Finally.
That's cool. I've never played Demon Souls, but I'm pretty excited to learn about it.
Yeah, so I had a physical copy in 2012, played up until a certain point and got completely lost and just fucking gave up, and then ended up exchanging it for Dark Souls because one of my colleagues at EB Games or GameStop was like, listen, that one's a little rough. Dark Souls, if you enjoy the challenge, is a lot more complete and like made for people with human hands to actually try and control and play.
You have to be a demon to beat Demon Souls. You need talent claws to be able to reach all the buttons, or what?
Pretty much. It's like I'll get into it a little bit here. It's definitely a acquired taste.
I don't think Ethan's played much of it, or maybe he has. I think he had it on his old PS3 or something.
It's a PlayStation exclusive. I'm always so unfamiliar with his console experience because he plays so much PC.
Back when he was my neighbor, I seem to remember at least someone playing at his house. It might have been Bobby Ferry, though. But
yeah.
That
actually seems a lot more likely. It's very much his kind of thing because it's a lot because his kind of thing and my kind of thing because Bobby and I have like super similar tastes. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was like mad into it.
Cool.
So Demon Souls, it's always been hard to say, and I never really knew how to write it. It is Demon Possessive S Souls. So it is multiple souls belonging to a demon.
Okay, like Lord's Rings instead of Lord of the Rings.
Correct. Exactly. The famously correct way to say the title of that book series. Lord's Rings. Demon's Souls would be the mainstream introduction to the genre that would become known as the Souls-like. Though the genre is named after Demon's Souls, much more popular spiritual successor, Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, and now you can find a Souls-like game just by throwing anything you'd like at Steam. You'll probably hit at least one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, this is something I found out as well recently, which maybe this is the second time I'm realizing this on air. Roguelike is the same thing. There was a game called Rogue in like the 80s.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I've never actually heard about that. It's a roguelike, so Rogue that you probably restarted with. You had like a challenge, and every time you die, you started from the beginning, and that was Rogue?
Exactly. Yeah. That to my knowledge, that is what makes a roguelike. It's like the game Rogue, which is older than all of us as far as I know. But I found that out recently, or possibly learned that again recently. I don't know.
Oh, cool. I want to learn more about that, so I might check into that later, or let us know in the Discord if you know anything about Rogue.
Yeah, about Rogue itself, like this old ass game. I like R.I.P. Total Biscuit. I found out from him, I think, and then it like clicked in my brain while I was writing this.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal internet personality. Rest in peace.
Yeah. We lost the king right there.
Yeah.
So if you're a complete mad lad and are picking up a PS5 right away, which I think actually comes out on the 10th, like tomorrow.
Yeah, it's really soon. Like, some people already had it when their Walmarts were shady and let them have it early. But
classic Walmart. I think the remake would probably be an excellent choice. The remake dev is called Bluepoint. They're in the UK. They did the remake of Shadow of the Colossus as well, which was just unreal. Like Shadow of the...
Yeah, I've been meaning to pick that up. I watched a few clips of it, and it looks beautiful, the remake, and it's just a beautiful game, like, even in the first place, right?
I played the original remake. I played Shadow on PS3, and then the PS4 version is just... it's just distilled art. It looks so good.
That's just like the whole idea is you're a little dude and you're fighting, like, it's a series of boss fights of Colossuses, right?
Yes, Colossi.
Colossi.
Yeah, you fight 13, I think, and it's the Shadow of the Colossus is absolutely phenomenal. You should totally play it.
Okay.
Anybody out there listening, stop what you're doing right now. Get off the bus. Go buy it. So anyway, that was made by Bluepoint, the remake, and they have a really good rep with Sony right now, where they do really good remaster/remakes. They're doing Demon's Souls for PS5.
Cool.
So you'd figure it's probably going to be very, very good. And they've been on record saying, like, look, we're not here to fuck with what is very popular and probably controversial. They've been on record saying they're leaving pretty much everything intact, including the AI and some bugs to not fuck with speedrunners.
Yeah.
So, like, some of the sequence breaks from 2009 are still good.
Totally, dude. That's really cool to hear. Is like Diablo remakes coming up, and there's a bunch of like weird janky stuff in Diablo that just makes Diablo, and we all want those to still be in there. So that's cool to hear that they're doing that.
It's mad respect for the original developers, but more importantly, at least as a consumer looking at a corporation, that's a lot of respect for the fan base.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at something like Warcraft 3 or Silent Hill, maybe people don't always give a flying fuck what they're selling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to those old bugs too, like, I'm not an expert in video game development at all, but you have to imagine they're programming the game on different systems now with different engines, and to recreate those bugs, like, it's probably a real challenge to get it just like it used to be. Yeah.
From what I understand, they started by getting Demon's Souls running on the PS5 and then sexed it up.
Okay, cool.
So they got the pig in shape before they started putting lipstick on the pig, basically.
One of the things for Diablo 2 that's weird, it's like attack speed's based on like the 20 frames per second or whatever you got. So if you had high attack speed, it would only tick on the certain frames, and you could do janky stuff with that. So to release a 60 frame per second version of it, it's going to mess with how attack speed works, and they're going to have to figure out a way to kind of recreate that old mechanic, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So what they're doing in this is in the Demon Souls remake is they've updated some of the animations, because there was basically one animation for multiple classes of weapons, so they all felt exactly the same, but the timing is the same. So they've changed the animation if you have like a mace versus a sword. You now have a mace animation, which makes a lot more sense because it's a blunt object. But the timing is identical to what it was in the OG. So it seems they're talking a lot of mad shit, and I'm liking what I'm hearing. Of course, the game is not out even when this episode is out, so we will have to see tomorrow, TM, if it's any good. Yeah.
Well, they sound like they're trying to do it well anyways, and here's hoping for the best. Yeah.
They seem to respect the people who made it and the people who like it, and that's good enough for me. But again... I don't know if this is true at time of writing. And the funny thing is they're not fixing the AI. Calling the AI in Demon Souls intelligence is like an insult to dead plants. It is brutally bad. And in their trailers, a lot of people are looking at it like, in the trailer, there's like one of the bosses is called the Flame Lurker. Keep in mind, this boss appears only in his own arena, and never again. He doesn't get recycled later as a regular enemy. And even in the new trailers for the PS5, he has trouble pathfinding his way to the player. So you have a boss that cannot navigate the only room it will ever appear in, and they just left it in, and it's like, it's authentic. That's it, buddy.
All right. You know what?
Cool,
I'm into
do
it.
Yeah. It's but yeah, just like that. It's very much like it's like of Mice and Men at the end. Like, sometimes it feels like a mercy killing where it's just like, and I get to attack the player, George, and then you're just like, boom, just
If you're like standing in the middle, he pats straight towards you. But if you if you walk to the side, he gets confused and starts just doing loops around, or like what happens?
Yeah. Well, he just like kind of pivots in place, just like because he, I guess, somehow loses track of you, despite the fact you guys are in the same room. And like I said, he doesn't have anywhere else to be. His AI should know how to navigate his arena. It's the only place he'll ever fight him.
There was a deadline back in early 2000s or whenever this game came out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I really respect what they're at least saying thus far, like I said, so we shall see. I'm looking really forward to watching speedruns by like Distortion 2 and shit, because like he's just brilliant. And it's not likely I'll get a PS5 for a long time, if ever. I don't think this is a hot take. I hate the way that thing looks.
Yeah, it wouldn't stop me from buying it, but I'm looking to make my money work for me right now. I got a financial advisor now and stuff, and I was watching a stream yesterday where they opened a $20,000 Pokemon card box, and they made their money back at like almost double, just because they got like a holo Dark Charizard and stuff like that. So I'm going to ask my financial advisor if I should invest in Pokemon cards, because I think that's
$20,000 boxes of Pokemon cards should I buy, Alex? And he's just like, oh well, I guess it's time for me to retire. So we've been talking and blowing a lot of smoke up the new unreleased game's ass. Can I recommend the OG? Jamie?
I've heard you talk about it, and I think that you liked it, although it's just janky as fuck. Like, you just have to get used to the jank, but then it's kind of charming in a way.
I cannot recommend the OG game. You're right.
You can't? Okay.
I do speak very highly of it, but I cannot recommend it. If you're dedicated to the genre as a whole and have played the entire Dark Souls trilogy, similar games like The Surge or Neo, and just want to check off another Souls-like off of like your fucking gamer bucket list, sure. You can probably get it. You can get a digital copy. Like, I don't have a physical copy anymore. I have a digital copy, which is what I played. It's like 10 Canadian dollars on PSN. It's rough. The North American servers have been shut down, so you have to play the entire game solo. This isn't really a deal breaker for me because I try to solo bosses in games like this, at least the first time, right? Like on New Game Plus, who gives a fuck? You've already done it, and like, just scaling up the damage is not like additional personal challenge for me. Like, it's just like whatever, right? But it loops back into like this very obtuse game mechanic that's also in the remake called world tendency. So there's like a state system that goes throughout each world that you warp to. So your character has two states.
Okay.
Right? Dressed and undressed, obviously.
Right, just
by being naked under her clothes or whatever.
Right. It's just like Chips, dressed, all dressed or plain, right?
Well, yeah, so in Canada we have 3 flavors of chips. Ketchup, obviously, which the Prime Minister like seals himself. All dressed chips and undressed chips, which is just dry potato slices.
Yeah, it's like chips but harder.
Yeah, no salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tendency plays into your character's different forms. You have a human form and a soul form. Dying in human form reduces your HP by 50%, which they're also keeping. So if you die once and cannot restore your human form, you're at 50% health, buddy.
Oh, like for how long?
Until you kill a boss.
Oh, that's awful.
No, there are a couple other ways to restore your body, but like that is the basic thing. It's like if you get bamboozled by the camera, which you will, and get thrown off a bridge by accident when the entire game goes crazy, you better beat that boss, dude, with half your HP.
Oh. Yeah, I guess you're just going to make peace with having half your HP, because you're probably not going to beat the boss on the first try anyways, right? Unless you're a god gamer, but...
So we'll get into that, actually.
Okay.
So dying in human form shifts the world tendency towards black. There is an invisible meter somewhere in the background in the software that adds new enemies and makes the level more difficult when you die in human form. So the game is it never really explains this at all. The game is punishing you for sucking at it.
That sounds like a Souls-like. I guess it's true to the genre, but like taking away half your health and then adding more enemies and not giving your health back until you beat a boss sounds just cruel to me.
It's very obtuse and weird. It was a big problem for me in a couple areas. So the best way to so you can swing the world towards neutral tendency or even white tendency by killing bosses. However, there's not infinite bosses, and to my knowledge, there are no optional bosses.
Okay, well, it sounds like for speedrunners, at least, this is kind of cool, because if they're playing perfectly, then the world's on their side, I guess.
Correct. White tendency does make the game easier, and certain enemies just do not appear. Not to mention, if you don't die, you have full health all the time.
It seems weird to reward the best players, like, who can already clear the content. They have an easier time than the people who are plebs just picking up the game, but...
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, apparently they are, in the remake, they are explaining tendency a bit better, but they are not changing it. So this PS5 launch game is basically just like, all right, kiddos, this is the 5th PlayStation. You a real man yet? And then, here they go. The best way to fix your tendency, that is to shift it from black to neutral to white, is to banish multiplayer invaders. So, when there were servers, you can use a certain item to invade another person who's in the same world as you.
Right.
And if you banish the invader, it will shift your world white, thus making the world easier.
Cool. Okay. I played mostly Bloodborne of any of the Souls games, and there was an invader's bell that you could ring to either invade people or open yourself up to being invaded by other people. So
it's pretty much the exact same thing in Demon Souls, except being slaughtered in multiplayer, if you suck like I do, in Bloodborne at least, does not ruin your game.
In Demon Souls it does.
In Demon Souls it shifts the world black, right? If you die in human form.
God.
Yeah.
They just stack all the difficulty on you, right? Like,
yeah,
the god gamers get to be gods, and then everybody else just gets stuck in this darkness where they can't escape.
It's a very classist game, exactly.
Right.
This fucks up some of the content as well, because certain characters and certain events only appear in pure tendency states. So pure white or pure black. So black is easy because you can just farm an item called a Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, which restores your humanity, and then just kill yourself.
Okay.
So if you just have a bunch of stones and a cliff, you can shift the entire game pure black and get all the pure black world tendency events, right?
Okay. Well, if I know anything about Souls games, I'm pretty good at falling off cliffs, so I think I could do that.
Yeah, I think I could do the pure black world tendency speedrun.
Yes, definitely.
World record, James Miller.
One of the WoW speedruns I was following is the fastest to killing yourself from character creation, and people have gotten it down to like 4 or 5 seconons. And it sounds like
it depends on the area, right? Because I played Dwarf a long time ago. There's no like ledge in that little camp outside of Ironforge.
No, dwarves can do it though. I forget how there was a stuck macro, so it's basically exploiting like Blizzard's like helpful system. If you get your character stuck somewhere, it'll kill you and you'll res it at a graveyard. So someone would just helpful. Log in and then pretend they're stuck and convince Blizzard they're dead in like 7 seconds. And then someone got it down to like 4 or 5 doing a different method, but I forget how.
They're so crafty.
Yeah.
However, on a first playthrough, keeping individual levels, because it uses like a warping system. The only game in the main series that is not just that is not like a hub-based warp to another world game is actually Dark Souls 1.
Okay, yeah. I played that one like the least out of all of them. I think I played it on like Ethan's Steam at one point, and I didn't even get to the first boss. But
yeah. It's because you have Majula in Dark Souls 2, you have Firelink in Dark Souls 3, you have the Dream in Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And then you have what's called the Nexus, which we'll talk about a lot here in Demon's Souls.
I haven't played Sekiro either, actually, which I really do want to play. I'm waiting for it to go on sale.
I've tried twice now. I tried the regular version and the Game of the Year edition that just came out. On PC, it does not work. Okay. At least with a PS4 controller, both versions constantly spin my camera around, obviously becoming completely unplayable. So I have tried and refunded both versions of Sekiro.
That's just that's the dizzy mechanic. You just got, if you play with PlayStation controllers, you just got to run in circles the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's Black World tendency. It makes the game harder. It just spins the fucking camera around.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a real god gamer, you can play like that.
Yeah. It's Beyblade mode. You just got to stick your sword out at the right time.
Yeah, I guess I'm just too much of a pleb. To get the Beyblade DLC for Sekiro. Keeping the game pure white on your first playthrough can be incredibly hard. And honestly, I don't know if you can even fucking platinum the game anymore.
Wow.
I don't know. Didn't look it up, to be fair, but I couldn't say if the game is platinumable, because if anything requires summons, it's over. At least in North America. I don't know about the European or the Asian servers.
Because the servers are down. So I guess we got to wait for our PS5 version to get our platinums.
Exactly. Or use a VPN to connect to the Antarctic servers, which are still running, because there's a couple Russian guys down there who love Demon Souls.
But they are god gamers, dude. Do not ring your bell. They will show up and mess you up.
Oh, yeah. Crazy Valklav is very good at Demon Souls. 1,000 hours, baby. Otherwise, it does have a couple other problems on PS3. It's terrible software. This is a problem I had with Bloodborne a lot, because I play it on the PS4 Slim. I don't have a Pro. It's a console exclusive that works about as well as a cardboard box full of boiled piss.
I've always liked, I just have the regular old PS4, but Bloodborne has always ran A-okay on mine.
I had a lot of problems with it. Any bug-related thing is always just personal experience. I had a lot of fucking problems with Bloodborne. And Demon's Souls is fucking egregious. Turn off blood. If you're gonna brave the PS3 version, turn off blood in the settings immediately, because any kind of liquid effects or fog effects will like tank your fucking frame rate to single digits. It's insane.
Yeah. That's the problem with Ethan, actually. He didn't turn off his liquid effects, and his body is just not able to compute all the liquids in there.
Too much bile. It's one of his humors is imbalanced. His yellow humor is far too high.
Right.
And then I guess the final thing with Demon Souls that makes it really hard to recommend is the camera is worse than I could have imagined. It's apparently fixed in the remake, and the problem with the camera is that the levels are way harder than the bosses in Demon Souls. I beat most of the bosses on a blind playthrough on my first try.
Okay, wow.
Including the second to last boss, which is the final traditional boss fight in the game. The last boss, he has a health bar, he's not really a boss, is just an execution. The final boss fight in the game I actually beat on my first attempt.
Wow, okay. So maybe you can get your pure white run on the first go if you're really a god gamer.
Except for the fact that in some levels, like in the Shrine of Storms, which is the most cancerous level I have ever had to suffer through, it is the camera and the enemies and the fact you're on narrow little cliff edges fighting ballistic skeletons that just never run out of stamina means I probably died in the same within like 100 feet of the checkpoint 100 times. Easily. Like for me, the Shrine of Storms was pure black. And stuck that way because there's only 3 fucking bosses, so right. I could never fix it.
Well, there's 4. There's the 3 bosses and then the camera boss, which is the hardest. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of easy bosses, there is a boss called the Old Hero in the Shrine of Storms. He's in the game. He's blind, so he will attack you based on sound. Turns out, though, I was using the Thief Ring, which hides your footsteps, to speedrun past enemies eventually because I was so fucking sick of getting killed. left it on for the fight. Turns out the Thief Ring makes you completely undetectable by the boss. So I did not only did I like single shot the final boss, I did not get hit by the Old Hero because he could not tell where I was.
That's awesome, dude. You found a cheat code basically.
The Thief Ring completely fucking breaks that fight.
That's cool. Yeah.
Completely. And then the dodge as well is only 4 directions, so you can't dodge past an enemy.
Ooh.
If they attack you. And I don't think it is tied to where you were standing when you told the game to do something, because there's like what sometimes feels like a full second delay from input to when your character does it. And sometimes, like, there's another terrible boss. It's called the Man-Eater, and it's like these two gargoyle things. They zip all over the place like maniacs, and they will just like literally rip the camera to pieces. And your character's dodge on this bridge can be very unpredictable. I don't really know what the dodge thinks you want to do, but it is pretty much, it's like you basically try and elect a dodge, but sometimes the character decides that no, that's not what you actually wanted, and then you just basically can go to hell.
Dude, I know it's not the same, but for whatever reason, it's reminding me of that Crash Bandicoot level, Road to Nowhere, where you're running across this rope bridge, and sometimes your jumps, they just don't do what you want them to do. Yeah. And it's just so frustrating, because you know what you want to do, but you just can't get the game to fucking cooperate. But,
yeah, I had to cheese the Man-Eaters. I got stuck on the outside of like a staircase, basically, right. And then their AI broke. They couldn't tell where I was, so I just had to shoot them with ranged attacks and poison. So the fight took me like 40 minutes after dying 30 times. But I did it. It just wasn't fun. Like I said, can't recommend the game unless... I mean, now that you know what you're getting into 11 years on, go for it if you want. I did, but I did it specifically to make this episode.
Yeah, I guess if you're just ready to accept the jank and make peace with it, it could be a fun experience.
Yeah, if you have a tolerance for old game, if you're immune to old game itis, then go for it. But if you're like, oh, I could really use another polished and fun experience, something balanced and good, like Bloodborne or The Surge or Dark Souls 3, something made by professionals. It's the wrong turnaround.
It's made by From Software as well?
It is, yeah.
Okay. So they were just getting their bearings on how to make a good game at this point, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And it had like a bunch of like localization issues. It got published by Atlas because Sony, like Shuhei Yoshida, was just like, yo, this game sucks dick. I'm not publishing this shit in the West. And then Atlas had to do it. But then it became a cult classic, and here we are 11 years later, still like anticipating a remake. So
yeah. Even as someone who's never played it, like I knew a little bit out of it just from nerd culture bleeding through.
Exactly. But now that we've established whether you should play Demon Souls, perhaps you'd like to ask Lore Boys why Demon Souls. Jamie, do you want to ask that?
What, Peter? Why Demon Souls?
Why Demon Souls? And while you and the Strawman podcast listener somewhere out there who also asked that question to themselves right now, I'm here to answer that question finally.
Well, I'm excited.
Just to prevent you from... I'm trying to save you from yourself. You don't want to play this game. Demon Souls is set in and around the kingdom of Boletaria, which on the surface is a very generic sword and sorcery fantasy kingdom. But things get a lot more visually interesting over the course of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very medieval Europe.
Right. Yeah, because in medieval Europe, there was sorcery. They were able to do little magic tricks and things like this.
Yes. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but Dara's brought it up a few times. Did you know in Canada, being a witch is not illegal? Impersonating a witch is, though.
So they have to say, did they say prove it? Like, and then you have to prove you're a witch, or?
Yeah, it's one of those like old Catholic laws, probably from like fucking before we were even a country. I would assume like in the 1700s, right? So it was just like you have like the weird Catholic Jesuits and shit. Like, oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't like it's a different kind of witch hunt, but it was like if you're a legit one, that's totally legal, but you can't fake being a witch.
I heard like this is how they used to test back in the day, and I don't have no idea if this is true or not, but they'd get a big vat of water and they'd throw the self-proclaimed witch in, and if she sank, she was not a witch, but she drowns. And if she floated, she was a witch and could be persecuted. So either way,
I think that's true. Yeah,
kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I love the witch hunt stuff is so fucking funny. It's very dark and weird, but also
Yeah.
it's been hundreds of years. I find it funny now. Like what?
People are so fucking stupid. That's what
Yeah,
it shows.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, little Canada lore. If you walk the witch talk, or if you walk the witch walk, you best talk the witch talk, or else you're a fucking criminal and you deserve to go to jail.
On Halloween, they'll check you for your cauldron license, and if you don't have one, straight to jail.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, we have a big problem with unregistered cauldrons in Canada. The serial number's like ground off with a file under the lip, and it's just like, whoa, dude, whoa. You can't bring that cauldron on an airplane. Not in a post 9/11 world. Are you kidding me?
Boiling bubble, toiling trouble.
Anyway, in Boletaria, like I said, it's very, very standard medieval fantasy. From what we can surmise, there is a singular, capital G, god who created all of existence on the first day, which gave man a soul and clarity. So this is in the opening cutscene. It says on the first day, God gave man a soul. It's like, this is from the cutscene of the game. It's not even like weird and implied.
Dude, just like the game, like our god, he took 7 days, right? And he just one day did it. So that's pretty sweet.
Actually, the Demon's Souls god is a way more to the point, actually. So first day, soul, humanity, boom, bing, bang, boom. Second day, he created what is described as a irrevocable poison, which was a soul-devouring demon who would later become known as the Old One.
Well, come on, God. You're not really setting us up for a great atmosphere now.
Yeah, so God in this universe only really gets the kids part-time, so there's nothing else about what happens for the rest of the business week. It's just day 1, day 2, where it's humans, the Old One. And
Okay.
there we go. Yeah,
And he went golfing for the next 5 days.
He's a deadbeat dad, basically. Yeah, he's like shelving condoms at the pharmacy 5 days a week, and he gets you on Wednesday and Thursday, where you get a soul and a dollar menu item from KFC every week. It's great. So at least 11 kings ago, the world was subjected to what was to an apocalyptic event called the Scourge, or the Demon Scourge, where the Great Old One woke up and spread a fog filled with demons and corruptions across the earth, which is just referred to as Earth. So Earth, God, are all, from what we can understand, the regular ones that we deal with now.
Okay.
Right? God being real and the Earth being flat, regular things that everybody believes.
Yeah. And like when you go into the Colosseum in the real world and that one guy just can't chase you properly, he's always tripping over his own feet. And
the real Flame Lurker, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just an edgy atheist joke out there, everybody. I don't mean to offend you or anything. They say that the Demon Scourge killed half of the humans on Earth, because phone survey responses had also dropped off. So it's how they gauge things in Boletaria. Was it was basically just like, I don't know, call every citizen and see if they're still alive. And I don't know, it's hard to tell if you missed a call or else you were killed by the demon fog. But either way, half the people on Earth dead.
Wow.
Also, as far as fantasy goes, there are no other humanoid races on this version of Earth.
Okay.
As intended, it is man versus nature.
Okay. And then a race of camera beings that are killing most of these humans. Because the camera is the greatest enemy.
The unkillable demon is actually the third person camera. Exactly.
You look over your shoulder, but you never quite see it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's creepy.
Well, it's directly behind your head.
Yeah. What if there's...
you could...
Everybody listening at home, there might be a camera right behind your head at all times, and you never knew it.
You never know.
Nope.
No. There are some scaly reptile men in the Stonefang tunnel level, but they were likely corrupted people transformed into slaves by the armor spider, which is the demon boss at the end of that level.
Okay.
Or they were corrupted into scaly lizard men by exposure to the fog or the ores that they mine. There are 2 surly blacksmiths in the game, Ed and Boldwin, and they both have like dry, scaly patches of skin on their bodies. Boldwin is found in the Nexus, so his exposure seems to be minimized, whereas Ed has like full-scale sleeves that run onto his chest and neck, and he's found in the Stonefang tunnel. He's not he's not a monster, but
when you go see him, he's always talking about how he's going to get his left sleeve touched up, and he wants to get this fixed up and everything. He's a real stonehead, you know, like he just loves that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps asking me if I want to buy his guitar, but I keep telling him I don't know how to play, and he still asks me every time I see him.
Yeah, exactly. He keeps telling me about the wonders of CBD oil. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm just here to get my weapon fixed, all right?
Yeah. This upgrade sponsored by CBD oil. It's just like, it relaxes you and you don't even have to get high. It's like, dude, can you fucking please? I'm not going to use your coupon.
Yeah.
It's like Ed has his own podcast sponsored by CBD.
Yeah, totally.
So humanity managed to not be killed by demons, and they managed to lull the old one back to sleep, which ended the Scourge.
All right.
Someone, or some many, died during this war and discovered the Nexus. It's like a dimensional hub of sorts where people can go when they die. It's not a guaranteed like connecting station between like the world of the living and the world of the dead. Only certain people end up in the Nexus. Right. And then they can return to the world of the living in soul form. So this is the canon reason why when you die, you come back as a ghost. But when you die, you bounce around between the Nexus and real life.
If you filled out enough phone surveys, then you're allowed to go to the Nexus instead of to just unending afterlife.
Yeah. So after you do your like Google surveys and you earn it takes you 150 hours, but you get your 19 cents. You can buy your body back at the end of all that in the Nexus.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah. Yeah. The Google Nexus is where you go when you download enough surveys. The main way you can regain your physical body is by absorbing and consuming a demon soul. By killing it. So when you kill a boss, you immediately get a full health restore. That also restores you to what would theoretically be your 100%.
It's a wonderful and a horrible feeling because you feel so powerful, but like there's just something right around that corner trying to take me right back down to 50%.
That there is probably a spiral staircase that the camera won't be able to handle, so you will just fall into a pit. Out of nowhere. Like most of my deaths were not enemy related.
Right. Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Just that's the way games are meant to be played, I think.
Yeah, just haunted by jank. Also, the stone of ephemeral eyes that I mentioned earlier can return a soul to its body. Where these things come from is not really known, but they are an item that you can farm. But they're quite rare, but you can technically retain your human form at all times.
Okay.
To help with travel, something called archstones were built within the Nexus. And this is the other canonical reason that they installed within the Nexus as to why you can warp between worlds. It was like humanity's magical transit system. Okay,
it's kind of like a bonfire system, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes. It's exactly like that in Dark Souls, but like in a more non entirely within this genre way of talking about it. It's basically just like it's transit points. So every level has multiple archstones, and each archstone links back to the Nexus. They do not link to each other. So traveling around can be fucking tedious because you need to basically go back to Central Station every single time you want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. And let your PS3 or PS2 or whatever it is just load. Then you get in, then you load. Then you're where you want to go.
Oh, yeah. Thank God there's some decent art on the loading screens. So warriors who had survived the battles during the first Scourge would return to the Nexus to become what are called monumentals. And the remaining countries banned what are called the soul arts. The soul arts basically being magic, pyromancy, and miracles. Because all of them kind of like were linked to the old one being around.
Yeah. Naming your magic miracles just feels kind of like biased to me. Like, I'm pyromancy. I only do miracles.
Yeah.
Like, it just has such a positive connotation to it.
Fire's barbaric. Come on.
Yeah, true.
I think Now, this is Lore Boy's canon and Lore Boy's speculation. Miracles are derived from God instead of the Old One. That is assuming Lore Boy's speculation that those two are even different things.
Right.
Right?
Okay, so you think that they could be one thing?
I wouldn't be surprised, personally, just my own experience with the game and reading through the lore and then writing the episode. If the Old One and God are the same thing, it wouldn't surprise me because even like when they gamify it, and this has always been fucking hilarious to me in like the Souls games, where you like gamify faith, but it has like a soft cap, so there's like diminishing returns to like how faithful you get. It's just like, oh yeah, once you're Pope, it's really not worth it anymore. You just get diminishing returns. A soft cap is Pope.
Yeah. So like if it's just one demon, like the old demon and God are one thing. That's why it's demon *S souls, not demons * souls, because it'd be like two demons.
Demons
it's the singular plural, not the or it's the singular possessive, not the plural possessive. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and also like magic scales off intelligence, which is like, oh, you do research to become a wizard, which makes sense. Well, I mean, right. He says in a world where there are no wizards, but it makes sense to me, right? And then miracles scale off faith. So they scale off different stats, right. Though both of those things are kind of devotion in some way, because you devote yourself to research or you devote yourself to prayer. You can get some magical powers. I'm just saying Lore Boy's canon, the Old One and God are the same thing.
Cool.
You know? Talk myself into it. At first it was just speculative, but prove me wrong, FromSoft. Make a Demon's Souls 2. Just like demons, and then 6 apostrophes. Souls, 6 apostrophes. And then Roman numeral 2, and you're like, yes, there you go. So the survivors and the monumentals imprisoned the Old One below the Nexus after it passed out, just like you would draw a dick and a monocle on your buddy's face when he gets too loaded.
Oh, so you just stuff a demon underneath the homeworld?
Underneath the Nexus, exactly. They got out their Sharpies, and the monumentals and the warriors of old got out their Sharpies and drew one giant monocle around its eye, and we're like, man, he's gonna be so angry if he ever wakes up. He would probably cause a second scourge. It's like, God, don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Yeah, anyway, that's what they did with that. Now, the realm below the Nexus, where the Old One is imprisoned, is like a foggy beach on the shore of a seemingly infinite, like, glass calm ocean. It's a very nice area.
That's a lot of liquid effects, so you better turn it off, because there's fog and an ocean.
Well, this goes back to the Old One just getting way too wasted and passing out. So they imprisoned him under the Nexus.
And he's just held there by complete lag because there's so many particle effects.
Yeah, and also drew a monocle on his face and put his hand in a calm ocean of warm water so he'd pee his pants.
Got him.
The monumentals are very love pranks. Which would make sense, because this was the norm for centuries, at least while the monumentals were around. The monumentals are a council of probably or assumed to be immortal bald Caillou children.
Oh no.
Yeah. And they all exist within the Nexus. Now they all are derived from like heroes of the Scourge.
Wait, so I don't know if Caillou's a worldwide type thing. It's a cartoon in Canada, at least, of this bald little kid who gets into little like kid issues and is
very mundane adventures.
Yeah, like he goes to a strawberry patch and he's not supposed to go somewhere, and he runs and he falls and he thinks he cuts his hand real bad, but he just squished a strawberry on it. And the moral of the story is don't run away from your parents, or else you might squish a strawberry on your hand.
You might break a strawberry. They're very valuable.
Yeah, Caillou's just a small child who's bald. Yeah. So how does that link into Demon's Souls again? Because
the monumentals all look like Caillou. They are a bunch of creepy bald children.
Great.
Turns out they can live a very long time, but not forever. And without demons, people forgot about the Nexus. Eventually, after centuries, King Alant the 12th came into power with his son, Ostrava of Boletaria. Overall, he was known as a wonderful king for most of his life. He took care of his people and took care of Boletaria and worked closely with the rulers of other nations. So it was all like, everything's pretty hunky-dory, shockingly.
Yeah. And his catchphrase was, no, it's with a T.
Yeah, Alant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how would you'd have to say it every single time? Oh, Allan? No, with the T in the end.
It's actually the motto of the nation of Boletaria.
Yeah.
It's on their license plates.
Yeah.
In his old age, he became a little self-conscious, and instead of finding himself a reliable gold digger on Instagram, he would figure he'd try and restore the hitherto banned soul arts.
Ooh.
Which is a good choice in my book. Because it's, honestly, possibly awakening an old dead god is cheaper and easier to do than, buying some 19-year-old expensive fake tits.
Yeah. It sounds more interesting, too.
I think so. Because otherwise you just have to sit there and be hated by her forever. At least you could get a colorless fog to sweep across the land to the other option, right?
Yeah. What's that reality TV show where they have like 30 days till marriage or something, and they just pick people from random sides of the world and then put them together and set them up for marriage? It's My 30-Day Fiance or something like that?
Yeah, that's it. It's like the TLC show. It's like the ultimate trash these days that people hate admitting they've watched.
Oh, yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
Have you watched it?
I've just seen like the clips of it, like that one guy with like the no neck with the really hot girl. Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't want to embarrass himself too hard, so instead of going on 90-Day Fiance, King Allan XII figured he'd revive the soul arts, which was still on TLC because those fucking parasites wouldn't waste a moment to make a quick buck, but this reality show was far more disastrous.
I'd be more willing to tune into someone potentially awakening an old god rather than exploiting two people and embarrassing them over the TV. But...
Move that god, and it like shifts out of the way, and it's just like an army of demons just like pour out of this poor person's house.
That's pretty good.
Mankind had mostly forgotten about the Nexus, and for some reason the Archstones, like the ability to teleport between countries, was just like, nobody remembers how to use that. Which is fucking stupid.
Why travel? I can stay at home and watch 90-Day Fiance.
Yeah. Like, why do you carry around that Air Miles card? It's fucking worthless. Use an Archstone. You're only getting 100 points every time you buy Tylenol anyway, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I want access to the lounge, so I got to get all my points. So whenever I take a plane, I can pay extra for my drinks in a fancy place.
Yeah, don't you get one for free? Like, if you went to the Nexus, they would give you one tiny Dixie cup of, like, sparkling water for free, and then you're like, oh, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, and then your next glass of Chardonnay is $40.
Exactly. So yeah, mankind had forgotten about the Nexus and the Archstones. Most of the monumentals had actually died where they were sitting within the Nexus. Wow. So each one in-game, each one has a little candle in front of them, and the candle has been snuffed out or burned out, just like a burned down little candle. One monumental is left at the time of the game, and still has a lit candle in front of him. Because the ring above the Nexus, there's like a staircase that leads up to it, is just this gigantic like Colosseum ring of dead bald kids.
Oh my god. Yeah. And is it like just video games where you have to light all the candles to restore the Nexus to its true form or something like that?
Nope, those kids stay dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Just like the Canadian cartoon Caillou, that kid stays dead.
The controversial ending of Caillou.
Yeah, he stepped on a real big strawberry.
Yeah. Jesus. Alant, with a T, ended up finding the Nexus. I don't know if he had to die and end up there, like the player and a lot of the NPCs that you interact with, a lot of the other characters, or if the Nexus is like a physical place you can teleport to. But either way, something gave him knowledge of how to get to the Nexus, and then knowledge of the soul arts.
Okay.
There are theories, but since this be Lore Boys, another one that is Lore Boys canon here is that the Maiden in Black, who is a blind custodian of the Nexus, taught Alant the soul arts herself. Okay. Either way, those who forget history are doomed to fail 10th grade history.
Yeah.
And you better
that's what
fucking
they
believe.
say.
Yeah. You better fucking believe that Allan the 12th is about to fail some 10th grade history here. The reason I say that the Maiden probably did this as a way to probably get souls is the Maiden in Black is where you level up your character. And her line of dialogue when you do that is like, do you seek soul power? Then touch the demon inside me. And then you pay her souls for power. So she gets to keep all those souls.
Right. A lot like the doll in Bloodborne.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the Emerald Herald in Dark Souls 2.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Wait a second, there's a theme here.
Yeah, Miyazaki has an affinity for a small room with no way to get out with one lady standing inside of it for some reason.
And you have to give all of your currency to the lady.
Give her all your money, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Giga Simp. Just imagine, like a classic streamer girl room, which is just like huge, completely empty, but like a very far away shelf with like neon lights and a bunch of shitty fucking plushies all over it.
I was gonna say LED light and a plushie. Yeah, they all have those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's what the Nexus looks like. So you teleport in and she turns around. She's blind, but she's got the big headphones on with cat ears, and she's just like, touch the bits inside me, and then that's what you do.
And if you donate your souls, then she turns around and writes how many souls she wrote on a whiteboard that's very close to the ground. So she bends over in front of the camera. Yeah, yes, that's perfect.
Yeah. Demons, simps, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my theory. To bring it back to the game, my theory is that the Maiden in Black manipulated or taught. I didn't really need to manipulate him. She was just like, "Yo, here's magic. Use it to bring me souls, and I'll make you stronger." And he was like, "Okay," because that's exactly what he was looking for. I say manipulated. It's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, that sounds like what I would want in a video game. Actually, to get stronger. The odds are stacked against me in this world. I got 50% health already.
Black tendency.
Yeah, there's a camera behind my head that I can never quite find, but it's always there because it never lets me see the pit right before I fall in it.
It keeps throwing me off bridges. I think it has something against me. I'm not sure what's going on. So for King Alant the 12th, the first hit was free, obviously. Right. He decided, or maybe was convinced, to awaken the old one. Oops. Since there is nothing sweeter or saltier than the trail mix of demon souls. This obviously made him strong, superhuman even, and gave him the ability to drain souls from the living. This is actually gamified in his fight. I didn't get hit by this because he's not that hard. Like I said, I killed him on the first try. If you get grabbed by Alant in the boss fight, he will de-level your character. He'll suck levels out of you because you level up by absorbing souls, right? With the Maiden in Black, he will suck souls out of you and de-level your character during that fight.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
and there's another mechanic. If you press R3, you can taunt him by calling him Allan, and he gets enraged and he charges you. Hey, Allan, with a T.
He wields the sword Soulbrand, which becomes more powerful the more demonic the user becomes. And in game terms, this scales with Black tendency.
I would call it Soulbrand as well, just to get under his skin.
It does have a silent T at the end of Soulbrand.
Fucking Allan, dude.
After awakening the old one, the boomers were booming in Boletaria, and the economy was good, if you ask the boomers. Alant, with a T, went through a few subtle changes during this time. Not just his hair going gray, or maybe needing a midday nap, but like a lot closer to dissolving into a tadpole-shaped tar monster, covered in eyes, that lived below the Nexus, inside of the old one.
Okay, too many demon souls and living souls. I guess he's stealing too, right?
Yeah, both exactly. So you get your beer gut, your meth teeth, your tennis elbow, and your tadpole body. The key signs of addiction.
Right.
The old one itself, now I can finally describe it, that it's awake and relevant again, is very strange looking. It's like a sideways mountain, basically. Okay. It's very clearly made of like stones and rocks and trees and shit. It is just a gigantic. It does just look like a natural formation, but it like slides around and has a mouth, and instead of teeth, it has like pointy branches and shit. It's gigantic. Okay. It is the size of a mountain, but it does look like a sideways volcano, kind of like a cone with a hole in it.
Okay. What I'm picturing is he's been under a volcano so long that when he woke up, he just took part of the earth with him. He's kind of melded into him, and now he's that chunk of the earth that he just came out, you know? Yeah.
If only.
He sounds spooky.
It really isn't. I recommend you to Jamie pull up the clip if you want while we're going through this. The old one in Demon Souls is just a mountain. It looks like a sliding mountain with a cave in it. Like, that's it. Yeah. God's
one true enemy, mountain. Like, or wait, they're the same guy?
That's Lore Boy's canon. The same guy. I mean, in real life, it'd be pretty funny if it was just like, yeah, I don't know, we retconned out the whole like it's a mountain on a crucifix thing to just kind of a skinny guy. But yeah, I don't know. Hashtag Jesus was a mountain. So anyway. One of the problems with having a tadpole body is it might be hard to get respect. And as we know, any good ruler needs to maintain a good image. Alant, with a T, used his immense power to create, with the T, the ideal male body, whether you like it or not, for himself, which would live in his palace as like a demonic proxy. This is the thing this is the second to last boss. The final boss of the game is true King Alant, which is just the tadpole thing.
Okay. Adpole?
No,
it's with the T. Okay.
Adpole with the T.
Okay, got it.
I don't know if you can even get hit by this boss. Because he kind of just flops around. And
this is the health bar execution you were talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because the actual last boss, the last boss fight is False King Alant, which is his demonic proxy, which is his sexy granddad thing that he sends after you that can suck souls out, that can suck your level out.
What's the ideal male body? Is it like Stretch Armstrong, or like what's he look like?
Stretch Armstrong, but after you've microwaved him a bit, so he's got all that weird beads inside of him that kind of expanded.
Okay, got it.
He's just like an old slim guy with like gray hair and a gray goatee. He's wearing like formal white and gold royal dress. He's cool. Like just like kind of generically Western handsome.
Okay.
Just like classic silver fox, basically.
That sounds cool.
Very, very sexy. The real Soul Brant is actually stabbed into the inside of the old one behind Alant's true form. So even his proxy, False King Alant, is wielding a fake replica, basically.
Oh.
Yes.
So does the tadpole wield the real version, or?
Nope, it's just stuck into the ground.
Okay.
I don't think he can do damage. Like, he just kind of flops around and tells you, like, oh, demon souls are the best, dude. You don't want to do this. Oh, be careful. You trusted the Maiden in Black, you idiot. So did I. Look at me now, sort of thing.
Okay.
But, like, I don't know how much dialogue he actually has, because a fight takes under a minute. He doesn't have a whole lot of health, and he can't hurt you.
Brr, 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 brr. Like, what does it even sound like? It's a tadpole.
It sounds like a regular guy, but I think he might be talking directly into your mind because it's kind of echoey, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? But you can understand him. It's not like subtitled gurgles.
Okay, all right.
There's no you don't go in there with a translator so that you can understand what Alant is saying.
All right.
So the sword Soul Brant has a twin called Demon Brant, and Demon Brant with a T, or Demon Bran.
Now it's two scoops of demons.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah. 2 swords of Demon Bran for a recommended healthy breakfast
in every box. Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's title card material there, Jambo. Demon Bran can be found within King Alant's family mausoleum and is protected by one of his ancestors, the old King Doran, who is like this now eternal demigod king. He founded Boletaria centuries ago, and you don't need to kill him.
Okay.
I did, just because I wanted to get his gear, and my tendency couldn't be fixed, so I didn't care if I could do good or bad things anymore.
Right.
But once you get him down to about 75% of his huge HP bar, he just like, ha ha ha, you are totally noble. Take this sword, and he just gives you Demon Brant, and he's like, use it to kill my great to the power of 12 grandson, because he's gone fucking crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So Demon Brant scales with white tendency, so the better you are, the stronger that sword gets. So the more pure you are, whereas the Soul Brant scales with black tendency, the more demonic you are. So basically they're the good ending, bad ending swords. Right. Basically. Whatever you're going for.
It's blind playthrough versus speedrun sword, basically. If you're bad at the game, you take the Soul Brant. If you're good at the game, you take the Demon Brant. Or
that's
the other
exactly
way around.
Right. Demon Brant is the good guy one because it kills demons, and the Soul Brand steals souls.
Okay.
Yeah. After you in New Game Plus, which just starts after the credits, if you use the soul of True King Alant, you can actually fuse the swords into one called the Northern Regalia, which gets stronger regardless of your character's tendency. So it's the yin yang sword opposed to just like the two opposite ends. It's both scoops of raisins. At the same time.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 scoops of raisin Brant. I like that.
Yeah, that's all of your demonic needs for the whole day. So you're
it's
pretty
how you
good.
Get a demon day started with a balanced breakfast. Oops, though, as we alluded to earlier, Awakening the Old One brought back the demon fog. Who could have known that all those creepy bald kids were right, considering they were just like, hey, we're immortal. Stay out of the basement.
Yeah, and they're all dead by the time we showed up, right? Except for one.
By the time you show up, the player, whenever Allant with the T found it, who knows how many monumentals he was ignoring the advice of. It's very difficult to tell, right?
True.
You can't ask the rest of them. They're all fucking dead.
Oh, no.
That's why the population dropped. These surveys weren't getting filled out by all these bald kids. 9 out of 10 bald kids agree that this toothpaste is real good.
Yeah, that wigs are good for confidence. Yeah, and there's that's one of the monsters. It's just possessed wigs that fell off of the bald kids.
It's the wig monger. It's a DPS fight. It's not that hard, but yeah. I first try the wig monger. Predictably, Boletaria descends into chaos upon the return of the fog. The fog drove people mad, stole their souls, or corrupted them into demons. King Allant believed, or at least began to believe, that the fog was mankind's salvation, because with our deaths, we could no longer suffer.
Right.
Which is right. I mean, that's a kind of a classic madman thing to say, which is like, oh, yeah, well, if you're dead, you can't be unhappy, can you?
Yeah.
Some of King Allant's knights with a T, died in the fog and became both bosses and mini-bosses within the game.
Cool.
Ulan, the sniper, was killed. She was an archer who would no-scope 420 noobs on her Twink account from behind cover.
Damn.
Her physical body became the second boss of the game, known as the Phalanx. I don't know if this was like punishment, but the Phalanx itself is a completely defenseless crystal that slithers around in a giant pool of black slime and is protected by dozens of smaller slimes that have spears.
Okay.
So the fact that she would hide behind cover and shoot arrows, she now hides behind shields. Well, she hides behind a Phalanx who all throw spears at you, basically.
Cool.
Her spirit, however, became corrupted, and it returns as a red and black phantom towards the end of the game that you need to fight and kill. The Phalanx is not hard, and it is not fun.
Okay.
It's a terrible fight. It's a horrible fight. If you stand still, you can probably get killed, but otherwise it is just... The amount of damage you can do at the beginning of the game is not enough to get through it quickly. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, just a long fight with mechanics. You just gotta keep going, right? And if you stand still, you die.
Yeah. It's like crossing the street. Just
Right.
got to get through it.
Yeah, except crossing the street doesn't take that long, I guess. But
No, I guess not, eh?
no, it's like crossing the street multiple times for no purpose.
For no reason. Other than to cross slightly better streets later, which is the kind of trend for Demon Souls.
Right, got it.
Alfred was the tank of the group, protecting other people with his massive shield. His body can be found in the game, and the Lore Boys canon fought as the third boss if you go in that order, the Tower Knight, who is a gigantic metal man with a huge shield and spear. He has like kind of Greek tragedy weak ankles though, so if you just poke at his ankles, he will fall over and do huge crits on his head.
All right, actual Achilles heel.
Exactly. Both of them too. Both of them in this case, where his mom, I guess, held him with two hands because she was lazy and dipped him.
And the top of his head.
Yeah. Yeah, like held him in this kind of crescent shape and then dipped him in for immortality. It's a decent fight as far as like Demon Souls mechanics go, but like I don't know. I don't remember having trouble with it in 2012, which I apparently did because I did not get a trophy this time on that boss. But my fight this time was pretty quick. I got killed once and then beat him on my second try. Another Lore Boys canon, which is a lot of fun because I got to write a bunch for Demon Souls because there's no fucking sequels yet. Alfred and Ulan may have had a little kiss, kiss, bang, bang behind the scenes.
Ooh.
I think they were lovers, personally. The Phalanx boss is protected by shields, and the Tower Knight is protected by archers.
Okay.
She was an archer. He has a huge shield, and both those boss fights are in the same world, right?
Okay.
They're one after another.
So they still back each other up.
Exactly. Thematically, at least, they're backing each other up. So maybe they were lovers. And killing the entourage makes both boss fights a lot easier. Like, when you remove the slimes, Ulan, the Phalanx, cannot defend herself anymore. She's just the crystal thing. The Phalanx itself has no weapons.
Oh, wow.
The Tower Knight is a real fight, but when you're not being peppered constantly by bowmen, it's just poking at a very giant slow man's ankles until he falls over, and then you beat him to death. It's not hard when you get rid of the archers.
Okay, so the support is stronger than the actual bosses in both cases?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, at least with Ulan, or with the Phalanx, definitely.
Right.
And with the Tower Knight, like, he can fuck you up pretty quick, but he's like 30 feet tall, so he telegraphs his fucking moves from another time zone. So as long as he's on screen, you know exactly what he's about to do.
Right.
Yeah. The DPS and the third wheel of these ill-fated knights was Mitas. His title is Knight of the Lance, despite the fact he uses a sword. I think that was a Japanese to English translation error.
Okay.
Because you loot a weapon off of his corpse that is also very clearly a very long sword. He does not use a lance.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe his dad's named Lance or something like that.
Knight of... Yeah. Sure. Lore Boys canon. Yeah.
Lance with a T. It's Lants.
Lancet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lance.
TS. Lance. Yes. And to reinforce my romance theory, he wasn't getting no tail behind the scenes. His arena is unprotected. There's no ads.
Okay.
So it's mano a mano between the player and with Mitas, whose boss is hilariously named the Penetrator.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude.
There's another sexy boss named the Dirty Colossus, which I like a lot as well.
You dirty Colossus, you.
Who, for me, I did not actually have to fight the Dirty Colossus, because when I walked into the boss arena, it had apparently spawned on top of a wooden fence that jammed it in place so it couldn't move.
Wearing a trench coat with both of its hands inside.
Yes. Yeah, the Dirty Colossus is just always sitting at the back of the porno theater on a picket fence right between his legs. Yeah, Ulan, Alfred, and Mitas are theoretically fought at the same time on your way to kill Alant XII. Their red and black phantoms appear as like a trio to try and stop you. However, the shitty AI means you can abuse them pretty hard, where Alfred tanks, so he's always behind his shield walking slowly. Ulan uses a bow, but you can kind of break AI range with her, and Matas runs directly at you with a sword. So if you're avoiding him, the other two kind of forget you're there.
Okay.
But you get all their weapons. You get Ulan's bow, you get Matas' sword, and you get Alfred's shield when you kill the phantoms.
Cool.
So you get some unique loot, at least from killing the soul forms of these 3 bosses that you've already killed. And this is after the penetrator, so you have to kill all 3 physical forms before you can kill the phantom forms.
Sounds like a Souls game.
Yeah, exactly. This trio of knights is actually also referenced in Dark Souls 3 on the way up to fight Prince Lothric towards the end of that game. The trio in this game, however, is Daughter of Crystal Kriemhild, who is a sorcerer, not an archer, Lion Knight Albert, who is just a regular knight, and Black Hand Kamul. The Black Hands are an order of assassins with like frostbite in that game, so yeah, that's a different thing. But we've already got an episode on the Lords of Cinder if you want coverage on Dark Souls 3.
Exactly.
With a little bit of exploration and a pinch of fairy dust, you can pretty much AFK the Penetrator fight, however. So if you can find a key to a character who's locked in a jail cell named Bior of the Twin Fangs, he will basically solo the fight for you.
Nice.
I fought the Penetrator once and got my ass kicked because he is hard, in theory.
Of course, the Penetrator would be hard.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, you just like
Penetrator the impotent.
So after I got killed the first try, I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just go gather some souls, see what I've missed. Because I knew at this point I only had 2 bosses left. It's the Penetrator and then King Alant.
Right.
With a T. And so I was just like, it's Penetrator with a T as well. It's not just Penerator. Peneraror. So I just got some souls, leveled up a couple times, upgraded my weapons and whatnot. Regular RPG shit.
Right.
I had a key that I didn't remember finding and rescued Bior. He's underneath the bridge with a dragon on it, if you ever play the game, guys. And when I figured I was ready, I went back to the Penetrator fight and figured maybe round 2 he'd last a little longer. Hey. However, Bior was there. He's not like because in a lot of the Souls games, there's like an optional summon where you can summon in a player. Right. Or in the later Souls games, like a character from the game will appear as a white phantom to help you.
Yeah, like an AI to help you kind of thing.
Exactly. You get an AI companion. Yeah. You don't get a choice with this fight. He's just in the arena.
Cool.
Yeah, and he will fucking destroy this thing for you.
Awesome. It's probably welcome to a lot of the people who were playing the game back whenever it was relevant.
It took me less than a minute to do this fight. He did like 99% of the damage, and then I only got hit on like the Penetrator's backswing, but there was like residual hitbox left on one of his sword attacks, and it hit me behind him and just did a little bit of chip damage. So I like healed myself and just continued stabbing him in the back while Bior just like tanked and did all of the damage.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, just remember they didn't change the AI in the remake, so if you want to cheese the fuck out of the Penetrator or the Peneraror, that's how you do it. Find Bior, he'll do it.
Nice.
Yeah. Right, and then so this is kind of what we're going to wrap up here before leaving it open to people to find the rest in the game. Other than the player, who is a foreigner who's coming to Boletaria to quest into the fog to find what's going on in Boletaria, where you're from is based on the character you create. There's a bunch of fake countries that are listed like, whatever, northern or eastern or southern or sort of shit.
Sure.
Other warriors from other lands also ventured into the Boletarian fog to find King Allant. Allan of Vindland was a powerful knight with a magical sword called Blind. Cool. Yurt, the Silent Chief, who is not silent. When you rescue him, he talks constantly. And also, spoilers for anybody who does rescue him, from the Tower of Latria. If you rescue him, he will kill every single NPC in the Nexus.
Okay.
He's a murderer.
All right.
Yeah. So
maybe don't do that.
His armor is really cool and really good. Just kick him off the bridge when you rescue him.
Okay.
He's in like a hanging... Yurt, the Silent Chief. Yeah.
Okay. It's like whenever you call a big guy tiny, he never shuts up, but he's a silent guy.
It's an ironic name from his mob days. Exactly.
All right.
You find him in a hanging cage on a bridge. If you let him out, you don't have to fight him. You can do the kick and just push him off the edge.
Perfect. Okay, good to know.
Just kill him, because he will fuck up the Nexus for you. There's a lot of characters that will have a lot of dialogue that you will not get to experience, because he will just slowly pick them off when you leave.
Wow.
He is hiding in a corner on the second floor, though, if you do find him. And you can go kill him there if you'd like.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a couple of game facts with the lore boys. Another character who's questing is it's Saint Urbain, but it's everybody calls him Saint Urbain in the game, because I guess the people who wrote this and translated it don't speak French.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's a powerful monk who uses miracles. He's your main miracle seller. Sage Freak or Frake. I don't know, it's Freke.
Okay.
He's a sage and soul art scholar. He's real thirsty for demon souls. You can trade demon souls with him to get really powerful sorcery, which I did. I was playing a sorcerer.
Cool.
And he's like super fucking obsessed with it. He is almost on the level of King Alant, where he's just like, no, it's totally worth it. These demons here make magic so strong. It's so cool. It's so good. Like, he's a very much like a for the knowledge sort of guy, so it's troublesome, but he's an excellent merchant, so he's totally worth having around.
Cool.
And then there's a couple others. Finally, there's Ostrava of Boletaria. This is Allant XII's son, so he's Prince of Boletaria.
Ostrava, the demon of summer. I think. What's that beer? Strava? There's a beer called Strava, I think, and it's the beer of summer. Something like that.
Oh. But yeah, sure. Yeah, Ostrava, the beer of summer, is King Allant's son, named after his favorite beer, because he was a deadbeat.
Yep.
He had moved to a southern kingdom, possibly Latria, just to, find his fortune, didn't want to live on his dad's dime anymore. He wanted to sell a screenplay that he wrote, so that sort of shit. He had heard rumors that the fog had returned to Boletaria and that his dad had gone insane and possibly corrupted the land with demons. And he was like, no, I don't believe that. My dad's a cool guy. He's just old and not greedy and power hungry whatsoever. He's a king. What's he got to gain, right?
Right.
Upon discovering that...
Well, it turns out he has everything to lose, I guess, with what we learn later on in the story.
That is absolutely true,
yeah.
Upon discovering that his home was indeed under siege by the fog, he set on a quest to find his father. Okay. Now, do you think a lifetime of being a prince, drinking and whoring, prepares you to fight demons? Keeping in mind, he carries a magical rune sword and rune shield.
Well, it sounds like he's got the equipment, but I don't know if he's got the know-how.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he gets killed?
We'll get into his story right now.
Okay.
He's a massive coward. He cannot fight to save his life, even with... So his weapons, when you get them, are incredibly good. And he cannot fight to save his life. Over the course of the game, the player can save him, I think, 3 times from trash mobs. Like, he is always besieged by trash mobs, like regular zombies with wooden shields and broken swords, and he's just horrified, and he cannot get himself out of it.
It's like Zote the Mighty in Hollow Knight. You always rescue him, and then you find him up in town, like, gloating about his victories in battle, but really you just save him from the most menial things over and over again.
It is similar to that, except for the fact that Ostrava has no false sense of confidence. Okay. He is very much a pathetic coward the entire time. Like, he's in way over his head.
Okay, he's more likable then. It's just...
Yes.
Okay.
And more likable than Zote. Yeah. So rescuing him advances his side quest, and if you rescue him 3 times, he appears towards the end of the game. With your help, obviously, he does eventually make it to what he thinks is his father, but as we established, the false King Alant is just a demon proxy. It's not actually his dad. And once he learns the truth and the player confronts him on the steps of the castle of Boletaria, he's just like, yep, shouldn't have done this, and he kills himself.
Oh my god.
He does return later as a corrupted red and black phantom.
Okay.
You have to fight his ghost as well.
Okay. His ghost a little braver, I guess.
Well, it's a little more. It's more hostile. It's more reckless.
Okay.
Running around with his shoes untied and shit, just like, no, that's so unsafe, Black Phantom. Why?
Trips and falls through a wall into the next room. Like.
dodges the wrong direction straight off a bridge. You're like, oh no. And the final character I want to talk about here is actually one of the bosses. This is the Maiden Estrella. She was a pilgrim and a devout follower of God, or the old one, wink wink. And she helped the sick and the socially rejected in the Valley of Defilement, which is a terrible level.
Oh, it sounds like a nice place to start a family, though. The Valley of Defilement.
Sounds like a good place to abandon a family. If you've ever played a Souls game, I think the most, if not all of them, have a poison swamp level that just ticks your health down and doesn't allow you to move fast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine that with bad mechanics and a shitty frame rate.
Oh, God.
That Valley of Defilement, though. This is where you fight the Leechmonger, which is a very easy boss. The Dirty Colossus is hiding in the back of the movie theater in the Valley of Defilement.
Right.
And then the final boss is the Maiden Estrella.
Okay.
Sort of. Her fight is super scripted, but it's a lot more like an artistic piece. It's very beautiful in a lot of ways. The music for the Maiden Estrella, I recommend anybody look up on YouTube, is so good.
Cool.
So when Estrella went to the Valley of Defilement to help the sick, and instead of having like poison and toxic, which is just poison and bad poison, in Demon Souls, there's poison and plague, and plague is just double the poison, double the fun. Basically, it just kills you faster.
Okay.
It's really hard to out heal with like passive regen. Like plague is insane, but she went there to help the sick and the rejected, and like it's very. Because the capital G God, she does like what you're supposed to do as a Christian thing, like help the sick and the weak and the crippled and the rejected and all this other, she's doing actual saint things.
Right.
So you don't actually fight Estrella. Her last surviving companion is named Garl Vindland, who is brother to Allan Vindland, who I talked about earlier. They get separated at some point, and Allan is still alive. You can meet her in game if you have white tendency, which I didn't, so I didn't. But she is theoretically there. And Garl Vindland will attempt to just block the path that you need to take down to Estrella.
Right.
And he's super scripted. He has like a hard lock for his AI. He will not pass this point.
Does he have poison mechanics?
No.
Oh,
He's in this like beautiful silver armor with like a gigantic hammer and a shield. He's like a very he's all silver. It's like dark silver, I think.
I was gonna guess because Vinland sounds like Vi, and then land like wine country kind of thing.
Wine country, yeah.
Yeah, and then wine is often like poisons, like Dionysus in Hades is like a poison god, but
right, yeah, he's the dogs guy. No, he's very much like a pure kind of crusader, like a very stereotypical white knight, not just because he's tipping to protect his lady, but also he's a very stereotypically chivalrous guy.
Yeah, he donates all of his souls to get his name on the whiteboard as well.
Yeah. He believes very much in what Estrella wanted to do, which was to help the sick and the weak.
Okay.
However, whether it's because of the fact that the fog was rolling in, and maybe the fact that she's just such a good person, the Maiden Estrella does become a demon.
Oh no.
But she doesn't get corrupted. She does not change in any way. She simply becomes more powerful and able to kind of protect and heal more people.
Cool.
You need her soul, though.
Oh.
Right? So you fight and kill Garl Vindland, and then when you get down to Estrella, you fight and kill Garl Vindland, you basically execute him. He does not want you to pass, and he will not fight you if you're not close enough. He has like a hard block. So you have to force the fight and basically just wear him down until he's dead.
This sounds like an evil ending. Yeah, I don't know how you don't lose your like white points or whatever whenever you're killing these people. Yeah.
Once you get down to Estrella, she's just like, "Oh, you killed him, didn't you? Well, fine. Listen, you greedy fuck." Basically, she's just like, "Take your precious demon soul," and then she actually kills herself as well. So there are two people who lose all hope, but she does it out of spite for you, to make you feel even worse about doing this horrible thing.
Yeah, it's a long walk back to the Nexus after that.
Oh, yeah. So it does add a layer of doubt into why, like, maybe Maiden in Black is evil, and she corrupted Alant in the first place just to get more souls for the old one. And it's just like, it just kind of shifts the idea of this, like, yeah, I'm killing demons, but clearly all demons aren't the same thing, because she's the only one who is not just like a gigantic slobbering monster, and she like stayed that way because of the fact that she is so good. And anyway, that's the last character I kind of wanted to develop there. So that's cool. Demon Souls.
Nice. I have to say, even though you say don't play the game, I kind of want to try the game. Maybe once I finally spend the money on the PS5 and I've my Pokemon cards have paid off, then I'll try it out, the new remake, because it sounds like it'll be promising.
It's got a lot to like. But sadly, a lot of that isn't like the controls or the software that aren't like the good parts, but like there's a lot in there that's really, really interesting. I mean, I enjoyed it enough to do a whole fucking episode about it, right? So yeah. Anyway, cool. I have been your host, Peter O'Donohue. You can find me at Loreboys Podcast on Instagram, or theloreboys.com. Go to About to find our merch, our Patreon, and most importantly, our Discord. Come hang out and suggest whatever you want to hear. You can also contact us. Jamie, you want to give us your contact info and maybe read us a little email from a wonderful man out west?
Yeah, sure. If you want to find me on the internet, the Discord is the best place to do it. Ethan, he's not here today, but bless his dark soul, and we hope he'll be back soon. You can find him at Ethan the Dead Man on Twitter. And we have an email from Mecha Paladin, also known as Joshua, one of our longtime fans, and here's his email. He says, "Sup, boys? Mecha Paladin here, working hard as you can see by the email I sent this from." Shh. He sent it from a work email. I just want to write in so you'd read my email and name on the air. Kidding, but I actually want to say thank you for all your show, guys. I've been through some nasty shit in the last few years, and having you guys there to listen and laugh all the time made all the difference. We love having you too, Mecha. I know you had some health problems back a few months back, and we're glad that you got through it.
I think the point of comedy is to lighten the mood. Like, I don't like how serious things often are these days, and recent events seem to be swinging things back in the right direction, I feel. So I'm like really happy that our humor was welcomed out in the world when like misery was the trend more than anything. Yeah, and Mecha, we're always happy to hear from you too, because you're one of the guys that when we stream at our random intervals, like your name's in the chat, or whenever we release an episode, you leave a review, and you've been one of the longtime fans, so it goes both ways for us. He says, "Granted, you almost killed me more than once by making me laugh so hard I couldn't see while driving, but I made it. I do my best." I don't take too much responsibility for that, but all right. I do my best to tell everyone about you guys, because anyone who likes my lore would get something out of you guys. Entertainment, an aneurysm, shit fits, whatever. Yeah, we appreciate that. Just keep up the awesomeness, guys. I've been a fan of yours from the start, and I will be till the very end. Regards, Joshua. And the Bridge Inspector. He's got a nice title under there. So make sure you're inspecting bridges and not laughing too hard, because we'd hate for some bridge to go awry because of us, but we really appreciate the email and the support. Wouldn't that be some butterfly effect shit right there? Like, you find out about a bridge that collapses, and it's just like, turns out the Bridge Inspector, which I love because it sounds like a fake job. It sounds like a job title you would give someone when you're trying to get past security. I like that he has two initials at the end too, and it's TT with a dot in the middle, like the crying emoji kind of thing. Oh yeah. Yeah, so if you want to send us an email, we'll read it out. You can do that loreboyspodcast@gmail.com, or you can do it through the contact page at loreboys.com as well. So loreboys.com/about, you can find everything you need. So that's been our episode. If you are looking to get some mist, we have boxed up a bunch of mist. If you open it at your house, there may be some glitches. A cat might walk by your door frame twice or something like that. But if for only $69.99 a month, you can get Lore Boys Mist TMTM. And we take no responsibility for what happens once you open that box, but it can be yours. This is if you, with good reason, don't trust Patreon and want to support us in another way. This is the Lore Boys Prime program. It's where you can buy our mist. Yes. Yeah, Ethan usually does this for us, but today we have collected all the mist, and we should be totally good to go.
or else
Yeah.
your money back.
We're storing all the mist at his place, and now he's feeling a bit under the weather, which is probably unrelated. So whatever.
Oh, I didn't put those together, but I guess that constitutes a lore voice.
Lore boys.
Out.